What a fantastic afternoon of music making it's been. I've been thoroughly proud to sit where I have. It's lovely as a new adjudicator to sometimes feel that you're going to work from the bottom up. But for those who've been at the top of the street, I've had a really nice modern motorhome to sit in. John, however, and as a person who's in the funeral profession, I've been very at home at Wetherby's Garden of Rest this afternoon. A couple of observations and points just to build on. I appreciate that everyone was coming to the hymn aspect of the competition after doing a road march, and therefore hearts are racing. You don't always play a hymn tune after some exercise. It may not have felt entirely comfortable for everybody today, and I appreciate that. What I have felt is that the bands that have sounded the most at ease and comfortable were the ones that just took a little bit more time to get ready, and that's fine. It's very easy when you've got people moving you from one place to another that you can get a little bit hurried. I'd just like to encourage you that it's about the music that matters the most in these competitions, and those bands that took a couple of extra seconds, a couple of extra deep breaths, and maybe just get those heart rates down, those were the ones that had the most controlled performances today. The bands that have done very well in the hymn category today are the ones that have had a wide range of dynamics. Occasionally, from that forte to fortissimo, it's not been a great step, and at the other end there's been a couple of hymn tunes today that have finished very quietly, perhaps with a diminuendo. Not all of the bands have left yourself anywhere to go. Dynamics is always about the bigger picture. Where are you starting at the top of the page, where are you finishing at the end, and what can you do in between? So the bands that have done very well today have really thought about that, thought about the bigger picture dynamically. I'd like to say there's been some tremendously well-shaped performances today, so at the risk of probably upsetting them, but I hope not to, is to say well done to all of the conductors today. You've clearly thought about how you want the hymn tune to be communicated, and I've certainly enjoyed that as well. And I think in most of the performances I've heard, there hasn't just been one standout soloist. There's been a real fine effort on all of the solo contributions today. So thank you very much from the top of the street. It's been a fantastic afternoon. Congratulations to those winners, and to everyone. I hope that I might have said something there. If not, the car engine's running and I'll get out of the way. So thank you.
I'd like to welcome John Roberts to the stage, thanks. Thank you very much indeed. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The weather has not been ideal for march playing. I did feel, for some bands, I think they might have felt rather tired by the time they got down here, and perhaps in several cases didn't play as well as they might have done on other occasions. A bit better preparation, a bit better weather. Generally, choices of march are pretty good. Some bands, as often is the case, stretched themselves a bit too far. If you think about it, if you play the repeats with some of these marches, the old marches, some of which of course are well over 100 years old these days, it's the equivalent of playing virtually half a test piece, and half a big difficult test piece. That's not an easy one. So it does take some consistency. There's been some lack of consistency in some performances, which just marred the efforts generally. But there's been one or two really outstanding cornet players. So whoever's won the prize, I think you'll see from that some outstanding playing from the middle. I think that's been really important when you're playing a march. Solo lines, the shape of those, very difficult to play them consistently, especially if you do the DC. Good ideas from conductors not to do all the repeats. If you're playing a very difficult march, you don't need to play all the repeats on the DC. That's a good idea, so well done. I thoroughly enjoyed certainly the top 3 or 4 were very good indeed. There were just some certain problems why they didn't come in a different order, and in the middle of the pack, very difficult to split some bands because that word splits has occurred a few times, let's face it, and they did sound a little bit tired. I think it's because if you're playing a road march and then a hymn and then another march, and you're coming on here, that is very difficult. And I did feel sorry for some bands. You could tell the tiredness had crept in. But I did enjoy listening to everyone. Let's see what the results like. Thank you very much indeed.
And on the Deportment march, which was just a section in Bank Street, we had as our adjudicator Mr. Jim Hartley.
Thank you everyone. Unlike Colum and unlike John, I wasn't tucked away this afternoon. I was out in the open. So firstly I'd like to really thank the Volunteer Lions and the Royal Air Force Cadets who were up there doing an absolutely fantastic job of making sure everything went down. So Colum said something there in his speech that today is all about the music. For me, I couldn't care less about the music, it's not why I'm here. I was here to look at how you looked, literally marching from A to B. Were you in step, were you in nice neat lines, were you starting and stopping together? And I've come from a military banding background and also a traditional brass banding background, so I know that marching isn't really part of the weekly routine. So to see some of the bands who were really and spent the time to get some good marching. There was some brilliant deportment today, so it was really good to see. There was 3 particularly outstanding bands deportment wise that I really struggled to separate, and in the end it was really tiny minute differences that separated the top 3. So congratulations to all the bands, especially congratulations to the winners. Thank you.
Could we please have Gary Hallis to the stage, please? We can't go without thanking this chap. He's put a heck of a lot of work in today, and him and his very good lady. I'd like to just congratulate Gary. And if you can also give him a